Amethio's shocking betrayal from the explorers, the surprise debut of Arven, and Fuecoco's major evolution into Crocolore. Here's what's happening in Pokemon Horizons. Episode 64. A shadow creeps up on Glaseado Mountain. After Liko's humiliating defeat against Grusha, Roy and Dot decide to cheer her up by climbing Paldea's highest peak, much to Dot's dismay. While on this adventure, Spinel is lurking in the shadows, beginning to enact his mysterious plan. I love how this episode keeps viewers guessing. There's so much uncertainty about Spinel's true intentions. It's clear that he has something in mind for Liko, but at the same time, he and Chels appear to be conspiring against Amethio. This dynamic is fascinating, especially since they're part of the same team. As events unfold, Liko finds herself separated from Roy and Dot, crossing paths with Amethio. This encounter wasn't a part of his original plan, as he was investigating Spinel, but he quickly sees this as an opportunity to go after Terapagos. The battle is intense. This marks the first time Liko faces Amethio since the very beginning of the series. What makes this confrontation even more compelling is that she's alone. She doesn't have Roy or Freed backing her up. Honestly, she holds her own impressively. Amethio acknowledges her progress now that Florigato has evolved, and Liko even implements some clever strategies to navigate Cerulege's battle style. But just when things seem to be going in her favor, Amethio decides to Terastallize, rubbing salt in Liko's wound, especially after her recent failure in the assessment. This moment serves to highlight her growth while also making the gap between her and Amethio painfully clear. Just as the battle reaches its climax though, Spinel interrupts, which is a huge surprise. He uses the Eternal Blessing he stole from Exceed to give his Umbreon an aggressive power boost. I was not expecting that twist at all. It shook me. The fact that it basically one-shots Cerulege just shows how dangerous this newfound power is. Thankfully, Terapagos intervenes to stop the rampage. Now this is what I'm talking about. For months I've been so annoyed with Terapagos because it hasn't done anything, but finally it looks like we're getting some actual depth. It reveals a different side here, expressing its hatred for the explorers and reacting fiercely to the Eternal Blessing, which raises even more questions. The episode ends with Spinel trapping Liko and Amethio in a cave, while Coral and Sidian confronts Roy and Dot to stall their rescue. Let's actually go! The explorers are back in action! What's insane is that it seems that the explorers are out to undermine Amethio because he's Gibeon's grandson. I'm not a big fan of nepotism either, but trying to eliminate a teammate is next level crazy. This episode's rating is a 9 out of 10. Episode 65. Liko and Amethio. While Liko and Amethio are toughing it out in a cave, Roy and Dot begin their battle against the explorers. It's great to see their teamwork, even though they're on the losing end. But the highlight of this segment is definitely Grusha's intervention. His entrance is so cool, though I wish we could have seen him battle more against the explorers. That being said though, as the title implies, this episode primarily focuses on Liko and Amethio. Being trapped in a cave is a fantastic device that allows for the characters to be fleshed out. For example, the small detail of Cerulege trying to keep Amethio warm speaks volumes. It shows that despite him being a villain, he clearly has a strong bond with his Pokemon, hinting that he might not be as bad as he appears. This is even further explored in his conversation with Liko, as the two are forced to interact. I appreciate how Amethio notices Liko's hesitation during their battle, giving her the opportunity to share her insecurities about failing the Terastal test. What's intriguing is that Amethio actually encourages her not to give up, indicating that he has some respect for her despite their rivalry. This complexity adds depth to Amethio's character. During their exchange, Liko learns about Gibeon, Amethio's grandfather and the leader of the explorers. It's clear that Amethio's trying to fulfill Gibeon's dream, which adds another layer to his motivations. Side note, Terapagos gets ready to throw hands once Gibeon's name is mentioned, which on one hand is really funny, but also strongly suggests that there's some history there. So I'm definitely intrigued to see what that's about. Liko's newfound knowledge reveals an insane connection I hadn't even thought of before. Both of their paths have been shaped by their grandparents. Amethio seeks the Lakua paradise for his grandfather, while Liko's journey began because her grandmother gifted her Terapagos' charm. It shows how Liko and Amethio are essentially mirrors of each other, two sides of the same coin. By the end of their experience, they gain a better understanding of one another, and work together to escape the cave. However, it appears this was Spinel's plan all along, showing this to Gibeon, affecting Amethio's standing with the explorers. This twist suggests that Amethio may be leaving the explorers soon, setting the stage for a potential character arc where he might accept Liko's offer to join the Rising Vault Tacklers in their search for Lakua. He's basically turning into the Pokemon version of Zuko, and I'm all here for it. This episode's rating is an 8 out of 10. Episode 66. System Invasion. Crisis at Naranja Academy. The gang is back at the academy, and to celebrate the final day of the Terastal course, the students will face off in a battle tournament. And yes, this includes the Terastal test failures. Before their battles kick off though, Dot receives a message from Penny. The school is being hacked by the Explorers, who are after the Terapagos data Clavel revealed a few episodes back. This plot was exciting. It finally utilizes the undercover explorers at the school, even though they already blew their cover. Seriously, why hasn't anyone called the police on them yet? I love how each member of our trio has a role to play in this episode. Dot must stop Chaos from hacking the data, Liko has to defeat Sidian, who cleared an escape route, and Roy faces Coral, who seems to have shown up just to stir trouble. Even Penny steps in to counter-hack Chaos. The most crucial conflict is undoubtedly Liko versus Sidian, as this battle is her chance to prove herself and keep fighting, a theme influenced by her conversation with Amethio. Liko holds her own against the resilient Sidian, and I like how the episode shows the sheer power of Floragato when she literally starts destroying Garganacle's hands. Even though the damage is undone with her cover, so it doesn't seem that bad, it's very rare for the anime to show serious battle damage like that, which is sick. Eventually, Sidian terastallizes, turning the tide and making things much tougher for Liko. Just then, Grusha appears, watching Liko's fight. An incredible moment is when Liko starts to lose, and Grusha prepares to intervene, only to be stopped by Hatchem. It seems Hatchem sent to Liko's determination and trusts that she'll turn things around, which she does by terastallizing Floragato. Liko successfully defeats Sidian for the first time, earning his respect. Roy also wins against Coral and her Glalie, showcasing how far they've both come. On the flip side, Dot does fail to stop Chaos, allowing her to escape with the data. While it was cool to see the Explorers succeed, I do feel like it makes Penny seem kinda useless. Especially when you consider that this is probably her last major role for a while, so, like, was this really all they could do with her? She seems so underutilized. Returning to Liko, after realizing that her true strength comes from fighting for others, Grusha decides to pass her on the implementation test. While I'm happy for Liko, I can't help but wish she'd earned that pass through a rematch, but I get it, she saved the school, so we'll let her have that. Now that Liko has officially passed her Terastal assessment, the episode ends with the exciting reveal of Liko versus Roy. Now that's how you set up the finale of this arc. This episode's rating is a 7 out of 10. Episode 67, Shine Terastallization, Liko versus Roy. We've reached the climax of the Terastal debut arc, with Liko versus Roy. And thanks to Penny, everyone knows they saved the school, making this battle the center of attention. And wait, is that Arvin? Even though he doesn't have a speaking role, it was still great to see him, as this may hint at his potential importance later on. At least that's the hope. As for the battle, this is easily the best one Pokemon Horizons has delivered so far. One reason is that we finally get a full episode dedicated to it, allowing for spectacular moments and meaningful character development between Liko and Roy. I especially love how Liko takes full advantage of Floragato's bud, and when Roy figures out how to counter it, she adapts her strategy, showcasing her deep understanding of Floragato. Roy also puts up a great fight, giving Floragato trouble early on, and his Kilowattrel even scores a win against Hatchem. Though Hatchem felt like the weakest link, she still surprised everyone by using her healer ability to remove Floragato's paralysis. Little things like that just show how intentional everything was in this battle. One of the standout moments is when Liko and Roy reflect on their very first battle, highlighting how much they've grown together throughout the series. Another epic scene was Roy and Fuecoco's chant, with everyone joining in, leading to Fuecoco's evolution into Crocolore. This was such a fitting way to do it for them. The final showdown sees Liko and Roy terastallizing their Pokemon, with new animations emphasizing the importance of this moment. In the end, Roy emerges as the well-deserved winner. And while I was a bit disappointed that Liko lost, especially since she's taken several major L's this arc, she was at a big disadvantage for most of the match. Despite that, the episode showcased both characters' growth and set the stage for their future adventures. We even get hints that Liko might pursue the Paldea League, so this may not be the last time we see some of these key characters. Overall, this episode was a fantastic display of everything Liko and Roy have learned so far, and I'm excited to see where their journey leads next. This episode's rating is a 10 out of 10.